So, about Srila Prabhupada, I'll say that I had a good fortune. I had a very, very rare good fortune of coming in very close contact with Srila Prabhupada, although I came to the movement very, very late. I joined ISKCON in 1976, and at that time, Srila Prabhupada had about 10,000 followers. And those days, it was extremely rare even to go near Srila Prabhupada. I'll give you an example. I was dying to meet Srila Prabhupada. I joined in Mayapur. Bhakti Raghav Maharaj was there at that time. In that book, I mentioned about Bhakti Raghav Maharaj. The day I arrived in the evening at the time of evening Aratik. Then the devotees told me that after that, there will be a Bhagavad Gita class. And so I was invited to attend the class. So, and Bhakti Raghav Maharaj actually gave the class. And those days he was Raghav Pandit Prabhu. And I mentioned there that I was so enchanted by his class. I was so impressed that the Western devotees are reciting the shlokas from Bhagavad Gita like nobody's business. And it seemed like the way he, with such authority and clarity, he was quoting the verses, that it sounded like he knows the entire Bhagavad Gita by heart. so, so that was my first experience of listening to a Bhagavad Gita class, which was, I had the good fortune of hearing from Bhakti Raghav Maharaj. So I joined in Mayapur, and I just went to visit Mayapur. I read the Nectar of Devotion, and after reading Nectar of Devotion, I became convinced that this is what I was looking for. And then the next night, I actually had a dream of Srila Prabhupada. So when devotees ask me when I met Srila Prabhupada, how I met Srila Prabhupada, or when I met Srila Prabhupada was first time, my answer actually is, I saw Srila Prabhupada in a dream. That was my first meeting. And I saw Srila Prabhupada, who looked like sitting on a throne. And those days, I never seen a sadhu sitting on such an elaborate seat. The sadhus generally sat on a simple asan, sometimes deer skin or tiger skin. But Prabhupada was sitting on something that looked like a throne. And Srila Prabhupada was sitting on that. In those days, I didn't know what a Vashasan was. And there was a brilliant light coming out of Srila Prabhupada, and as if Srila Prabhupada was sitting in the middle of a brilliant light. And just the sight actually made me feel that finally I found my spiritual master. And then I inquired from Calcutta temple, like where Srila Prabhupada was. And I was told that Srila Prabhupada was in America at that time. And so while reading Nectar of Devotion, I started getting ideas like what a devotee does, like in Vrindavan, he goes out visiting temples and so forth. And so I thought, okay, I will first visit the places where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu performed his pastimes, and then I'll go to Vrindavan, thinking that the first place I went was to Mayapur. And then in Mayapur, the next morning, the day I arrived, everyone was requesting me to join. And I started to think that internally I already resolved that I would join. I was thinking that only I would join when Prabhupada would come back. But now that they're all requesting me so kindly, so nicely. So the next morning also I attended the Bhagavatam class. Satudanda gave the class. And right after the class, I was impressed by his class also. He also spoke with such authority. And so right after the class, he came up to me and he said that he heard that I came and he asked, why don't you join? Like, and I also thought everybody is asking me to join, so why don't I join? So thinking that, I went to a barber, got my head shaved, got a pair of dhoti and kurta, went to the Ganga, threw away my old clothes, and put on my dhoti and kurta, devotee clothes, and just came back to the temple. Everyone was shocked and surprised. So, anyway, that's how my spiritual life started. I joined in Mayapur, although I didn't really go there to join, just went there to visit. And but next morning only I kind of joined. Of course, at that time I thought, when I was shaving my head, I thought that, well, if I don't like it, then I'll give it 2 months, and if I don't like it, then my hair will grow and I can go back. But that 2 months did not end, and it's about 40 years now. And I must admit, as the time passing, my conviction is becoming stronger and stronger. I don't have the slightest doubt that I found the right path. This is the way. And with the passing of time, it is becoming more and more clear how this is the spiritual movement. Sometimes I make a challenge to other people from other groups that I have this is what I found as the best. If you have something better than this, please give it to me. I'll accept it. But so far, I haven't found anything better than this. So this is how it joined. And I was waiting for Srila Prabhupada to come back. And then finally, we got the news that Srila Prabhupada came to Bombay. And so I went to Bhavananda Maharaj. At that time, Jayapataka Maharaj and Bhavananda Maharaj were the two co-directors of Mayapur, two leaders of Mayapur. So I went and told him that I wanted to go to Bombay to see Srila Prabhupada. So he told me that, look, in Bombay, nobody knows you. So you won't have any access to Srila Prabhupada. And besides that, Prabhupada's health is also not good. So hardly Prabhupada is giving darshan or meeting anybody. So you wait till Prabhupada came to Mayapur. So, and I also accepted it because by the time I had quite a few responsibilities in Mayapur. But then we got the news that Prabhupada is coming to Kumbh Mela, Allahabad. And so those days, at that time, Guru Kripa Swami, with his group of devotees who were known as Namhat. The original Namhat was actually Guru Kripa Prabhu's Namhat. And they were the most dynamic uh, 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 group of devotees. And they were collecting in Japan. I mean, they were collecting thousands of dollars those days and sending the money to Prabhupada. And they used to take a break and come to Mayapur once in a while to have a kind of a relief from this hectic collecting activities in Japan. So Guru Kripa with his team was going to Allahabad to Kumbh Mela in a bus. And a few of Mayapur devotees also joined, headed by Bhavananda Maharaj. So we went to Kumbh Mela, and as we arrived in Kumbh Mela site, how many of you have seen Kumbh Mela in India? Okay, I mean, in Allahabad, in the confluence of Ganga and Jamuna, for miles after miles after miles, there are just that area full of tents. So many people participate. They get about uh, 40 million people to participate. No, I'm sorry, not 40 million, 400 million, for 40 crores. 40 crores. So it's a huge affair. And ISKCON had its area, and so there were tents, and I just uh, left my luggage, uh, and straight away I wanted to go and meet Srila Prabhupada. So I found out where Prabhupada's tent was. Prabhupada's tent was surrounded by a kind of an arrangement that is made here with corrugated tin sheets. A wall was made, and it had a one entrance, and and then inside that there was Prabhupada's tent, quite a large tent. And so I tried to go in, and the gate was guarded by one big-bodied Western devotee. So, uh, so he stopped me. He said, uh, uh, Prabhupada will give darshan in the evening, so you can come at that time. And quite disappointed, I just left. And then I saw Bhavananda Maharaj coming with a basket full of vegetables that he brought from Mayapur. So he was carrying the basket like this, and he was kind of walking fast. And so he said, "Come, I'm going to Srila Prabhupada." So I followed him. So the devotee who was guarding the gate, he offered obeisances to Bhavananda Maharaj, and we just walked in. When I came in front of the tent, from the opening of the tent, I could see that Srila Prabhupada was sitting behind a desk. And seeing that, I offered obeisances from outside. In the meantime, Bhavananda Prabhu went inside. And so, and when I got up and tried to get in, Rameshwar Maharaj was there, who was Prabhupada's secretary at that time. So he stopped me. He said, Prabhupada is taking lunch now. You don't go inside. And I started to cursing myself. Why did I offer obeisances from outside? Like, it was such a golden opportunity to go to Srila Prabhupada. And anyway, so when he told me that I shouldn't go in, so I just left. And that time I realized how difficult it must be to meet, to go even near Srila Prabhupada, because you can well imagine when Srila Prabhupada had about 10,000 followers, about 6,000 initiated disciples. Like how, and every one of them were dying to have a moment's association of Srila Prabhupada. Like later on, I have seen devotees would come, fly from America, Europe, Australia, and they would just get a glimpse of Srila Prabhupada. Wouldn't even have any personal darshan. That was how rare it was. And so I realized the reality of it was that it is impossible to go near Srila Prabhupada. And I was thinking there are so many devotees who had been serving Srila Prabhupada with such dedication for so many years. And who am I? Just a new bhakta, just joined the other day. So thinking that, I resolved that I would not try to get near Srila Prabhupada anymore. I wouldn't try to get close to Srila Prabhupada. And I started to go out distributing books. And Kumbh Mela book distribution was an exciting phenomena. Like generally those days, to make people convinced, to convince people to get books was quite difficult. And here in Kumbh Mela, they were so ready to buy the books. And in Bengal, we had only one book. Trinakarta Prabhu was telling me that today, that Gita Gan, that was the only Bengali book that we had. And that's Prabhupada's rendition of Bhagavad Gita in Bengali poetry. Beautiful, beautiful book. And so that was the only book that we used to distribute, selling them for 1 rupee a piece, 1 rupee a copy. But in Kumbh Mela, there were so many Hindi books, magazines, and they were so ready to take them. So we got so excited distributing the books that in the evening, I completely forgot that Prabhupada was giving the darshan at certain time. So when I realized it was already about half an hour too late, so I immediately ran to Prabhupada's tent. And tent was full of people. I somehow managed to squeeze inside, And that was the first time I actually got a clear sight of Srila Prabhupada. And that was an amazing experience. So, and a few incident is very vivid in my memory. Like for first few minutes, or I don't know for how long, I could not actually, I could not register what was happening. All I could hear is my own heartbeat. It was pounding heavy. Dharam, dharam. And so, and then I started to register. One of the things that that I noticed at that time, or registered at that time, that one gentleman, nice looking, respectable looking gentleman, asking Srila Prabhupada in a rather challenging way, why are you building new temples when old temples are needing repair? At that time, at around that time, Vrindavan temple was just opened. In 74, Vrindavan temple was opened, and this was 2 years after that. And so, and in Vrindavan, as you have seen, like many temples are in a very, very uh, dilapidated condition, needing renovation and repair. So he probably meant, like, why don't you repair these old temples instead of building new temples? Prabhupada did not answer directly. Prabhupada asked, who is that lady sitting next to you? The man said, oh, she is my wife. Why did you get married? The man didn't know what to say. Then Prabhupada provided the answer, putrarthe kriyate bharja. In order to have children, one accepts a wife. Now, why have your own children when there are so many children loitering in the streets? And then Prabhupada said, just as you want to have your own children, devotee wants to make his own offering to the Lord by building his temple. And it was, that was my first, you know, encounter, so to say. And I was so brilliant. And Prabhupada was answering the questions like in such a wonderful way. And and then after a few days, one day Prabhupada decided to leave. And that time I just used to just go to the Guru Puja and Bhagavatam class that Prabhupada used to give in the morning. I stopped making any effort to meet Srila Prabhupada, although I was dying to meet him prior to that. And then Srila Prabhupada came in the evening. Prabhupada would give darshan and we would go to the tent to see Srila Prabhupada. Then one morning we got the news that Prabhupada is leaving. Prabhupada is leaving Kumbh Mela. All of a sudden Prabhupada decided. So I accepted. And I remember during the prasad time it was announced, breakfast time, that Prabhupada was leaving that night. Then after a while, Bhavananda Maharaj came to me and told me, Prabhupada is leaving tonight. So I said, yes, I heard. And he said that Prabhupada will be traveling in a train, first class bogie, meaning first class carriage, is going to be added to, hooked onto a Calcutta bound train. And a group of devotee will be traveling with Srila Prabhupada. And you have been included in that group. I was so excited. Like I literally started to dance there that I'll be able to travel with Srila Prabhupada in the same train with a handful of devotees. So anyway, the train started at night and soon after that we took rest. Next morning, Bhavananda Prabhu came to me. I was chanting sitting in my compartment, which was just next to, 2 compartments away from Srila Prabhupada's. So he came and said, come, I'll take you to Srila Prabhupada. Now, all this while, I was dying to meet Srila Prabhupada. And now, when he came and told me, come, I will take you to Srila Prabhupada, something happened, and I felt that I am not at all qualified to go to Srila Prabhupada. I had some strange feeling that I was not qualified. Prabhupada will see my heart, which is so full of dirt. And what if Prabhupada rejects me? What if Prabhupada refuses to accept me? So probably Bhavananda Maharaj couldn't understand my hesitation. So he took me by my hand and dragged me through the corridor and opened the door of Prabhupada's compartment and pushed me in. And I fell flat, offering obeisances. When I got up, Srila Prabhupada motioned, come sit here. So first class compartments in the Indian trains, yeah, they had two seats facing each other. So in the other seat there was Rameshwar Maharaj, Jayapataka Maharaj and Bhavananda Maharaj. And Prabhupada was sitting facing them. So and Prabhupada asked me to sit next to him. So I said, Prabhupada, no, I'd rather sit on the floor. Prabhupada said, no, you can sit here. So a blanket was spread on Srila Prabhupada's seat, so I rolled up the edge of the blanket and sat on the corner. And after some initial exchanges, Prabhupada told me, you translate my books into Bengali. And that service actually gave me an unrestricted access to Srila Prabhupada. Now I could go to Srila Prabhupada anytime I wanted. My excuse was that I have translated something that I have to show Srila Prabhupada. So, so then Prabhupada came to Calcutta, and so Calcutta was also my stomping ground. So, and I was there. Yeah, one evening, Srila Prabhupada was giving darshan, and to some very important people from Calcutta. And then when the uh, Aratik started, Prabhupada told them to go to the Aratik, to go and attend the Aratik. So I also left with them. I was standing in the Aratik, I was thinking, I can attend the Aratik anytime, every day. But Prabhupada's darshan is so rare, so let me just go to Srila Prabhupada's room. So I just, the door was closed, ajar. So I opened the door. What I saw at that time shocked me a little, because I saw Prabhupada was counting money. the donations that Prabhupada got from those people, Prabhupada was counting the money. Now, in India, we generally grew up with the idea the sadhus don't touch money and things. But seeing Prabhupada counting money was a little shocking sight. So, but I brushed that thought aside. Whatever Prabhupada does is perfect. So, thinking that, I just didn't worry about. So, Prabhupada looked up to me and says, so, what do you want? So I said, Prabhupada, I just wanted to be here with you. Prabhupada said, come on. So we came in. Prabhupada kept on counting the money. Then he stacked it, opened the drawer. Prabhupada's movements were so artistic. I still remember. Like, like the way he opened the drawer, way he placed the money inside the drawer, closed the drawer. Then he asked, so what do you want? And I just blurted out, Srila Prabhupada, will you please give me initiation? Will you please accept me? And because I had that fear, because I heard that many devotees had been waiting for years but didn't get initiation. So I thought, if Prabhupada reject me also in that way, then what will happen? But to my great relief, Prabhupada told me, yes, during Gaur Purnima festival in Mayapur, I will give you initiation. And so that is how my spiritual life began. Srila Prabhupada then allowed me to serve him more closely. he made me his secretary for Indian affairs, and then uh, I got the opportunity to start cooking for Srila Prabhupada. And so that way, I had the good fortune of being with Srila Prabhupada practically 24 hours a day. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaur Premanande Hari.